Hello to Chris and everybody at the Spurs Chat podcast, and obviously everybody who tunes in to watch the Spurs Chat podcast. My name is Martin Douglas. I am the host of the Rangers Rabble podcast, and Chris has sent me through some questions to give you a bit of an insight into Rangers and what to expect on Thursday night. I will say Thursday because I don't know when Chris is going to put this out. I will try my best to tone down the accent a wee bit, so you can maybe understand me a little bit better. So, the questions that Chris has asked, I'll read out the questions as well, folks, so that he's not too confused. So question number one was, what have you made of Rangers so far this season in all competitions? Not great. Not great, to be honest. Rangers are going through, and I'll explain the financial differences between Tottenham and Rangers. Rangers are going through a sort of transitional season, according to the manager. We haven't won the league for 3 years. However, Europe has always been, we've always been quite good in Europe, I would say. But in the league so far this season, it's been poor. We're 11 points behind Celtic. We're in third place in the league. We've dropped points where we shouldn't have dropped points. We've been humbled in the first Old Firm game of the season. However, we are through to the League Cup final, which we play on Sunday, which I don't know if that will have any effect on Thursday night. It could do. It might also possibly be the same for Spurs, because I don't know realistically how important the Europa League is to Tottenham. It might be very important. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of English football, but I don't know if Spurs will use it as a way to rest players, or they'll go full strength, or whatever. But in the Europa League, we've done really well. In the League Cup, we've done really well. Scottish Cup hasn't really started yet for us, but our main focus is the league. And in terms of how we've performed in that, in the last 2 to 3 weeks, it's been much better. But as an overall, it's been extremely poor. Okay, doke. Question number two: can you tell us about the manager and key players for Rangers? Also, injury news. Now, the injury news isn't really relevant because the couple of players that we have out injured have been out injured from the start of the season. Cortez, the left winger that we have, has been basically out for a year and a half. It's more the players that were injured at the start who have came back into the team in the last sort of 2 to 3 weeks and have made us a lot better. The manager, Philip Clement, for whatever reason, did not select them for Europe, so they're not in the European squad. So then we've got Yanis Hadji, who has came back into the team in recent weeks and has made us really competitive. He's got an eye for a pass. He's a very eloquent footballer, you could say, not selected for Europe, so can't be picked. And Danilo, and this is where we'll speak about financial differences. Our £6 million striker, who for us was a mega purchase. I can't remember the boy's name up front for Spurs, Solanke. What was he, 70 million or something like that? So there's your difference right away. Our top striker's £6 million. Our backup striker's like £3 million. So yeah, so that's the two players that we will have missing. That will be the biggest impact for us, I would say. We have Igaman, a young Moroccan boy who's just kind of came into the team, and he's showed in Europe and in the league in the last few weeks what he can do. But in terms of injury news, it's no real biggie. I'm kind of hoping that Van der Veen is out for Tottenham. That's a hope for me, because I'll there's a question later on about what I've made of Spurs, and I'll come back to why I think that's relevant. Our manager, Philip Clement, Belgian, um, doesn't have the full backing of the support. I think it might be quite similar to Ange, who obviously I know quite well, um, because of the performances in the league that we've had. There's been a lot of call for him to go. But like I say, in the last 2 to 3 weeks, things have started to turn a little. But he's one bad result away from the fans completely turning on him completely turning on them again. Question number three: are the Rangers fans feeling confident on getting a good result against Tottenham? It's really strange because if you compare the two squads, if you compare the wages of the two squads, then Rangers should really have no chance. Absolutely no chance. I mean, Tottenham have got players like Kulusevski, Madison, um, Solanke, um, Bissouma, Fraser Foster in goal, obviously, who I know quite well as well. So if you were going on just the pure finance of it, then Tottenham should win relatively comfortably. But Rangers have this aura about them at home in Europe where, we've beaten Leipzig, we've beaten Dortmund, we've went to Europa League finals, we beat PSV at home. We are a good European team, especially at home. However, we have that massive League Cup final on Sunday. So there's almost this mm, nonchalant feeling from some supporters about the Tottenham game. It's the bigger game Sunday for us. It's a much bigger game. It won't be a much bigger game 5 minutes before kickoff on Thursday. But then as soon as the game's done, the attention immediately focuses to Sunday. But put it this way, I would not be surprised if Rangers got a result. Spurs have better players. Spurs players cost more money. Spurs play in a far more competitive league and they play against better teams week in, week out. But I would not be surprised if Rangers picked up a result. Can you talk? Question number four, sorry. Can you talk about Rangers Europa League games so far? Well, like I say, we seem to be a different animal in Europe. Barring Leon, I mean, Leon came to Ibrox and gave us a bit of a lesson, to be honest. But Malmo, the first game, we won 2-0 away from home. We then beat FCSB, not a very good team, incidentally, but we beat them 4-0. We then beat Nice 4-1 away. So in Europe, bar one game, we've been really, really good, which has been kind of the same story for the last 4 or 5 years, to be honest. We've been excellent in Europe. We've beaten teams that we probably shouldn't have beaten. We've competed against teams that we probably shouldn't compete against. And in the league, we've been honking. So Europa League, we've been good. League, not so good. Question number five: what have you made of Tottenham so far this season and so far in the Europa League? Now, I could have just googled Tottenham's results, but I'm not going to sit here and lie. I haven't seen a single Tottenham game in the Europa League, so I can't really comment on that. I did, however, sit down the other night and watch the Chelsea game. But I'll watch that because obviously we're playing Tottenham soon. And the first 10 or 15 minutes scared the living daylights out of me. The speed in which Tottenham can play, the intricate passes, the skill of the likes of Kulusevski and Son, even though I don't think Son had his best game. But Son to me is probably a world class player. I would have to say that. I've occasionally when I watch Match of the Day, I'll see Spurs and Arsenal and the rest, and I've always been impressed with Heung-min Son. I think he's an excellent player, and I think if we're not on it defensively, he will tear us apart. Um, but the Chelsea game also showed where Spurs have weaknesses. I'm a wee bit tired, though, I have to say, of the English media narrative of Ange's only got one way of playing football. Ange only knows how to do this. Ange only knows how to do that. The guy done really well at Celtic, as painful as that is. And I would imagine from the small bits that I've seen, I can't imagine Tottenham fans, you know, being bored at games, albeit maybe not where you want to be in the league. But as difficult as it is for me to say, Ange Postecoglou is a very good manager. And he's a manager who sticks to his guns. And I get a wee bit annoyed when I hear the likes of Jamie Carragher um, and Gary Neville having a real go just because he's not playing the way that they want him to. So yeah, Tottenham a very good team, very very good team, very good players. I'm just hoping that right now is the right time to play them because, I mean, a football game can go many ways. Um, but if Tottenham are on it and Tottenham are playing at the top of their game, then it could be a long, long night for us. And I'm just hoping that it's not. Question number 6. Who are your favourites to win this competition? And do you like the new format? It's really difficult to say at this early stage who do you fancy to win it because, and again, please in the comments tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure how serious some countries take the Europa League. I know Tottenham obviously haven't won anything for a long time, and that's not a dig. It's not a dig. I know they haven't won anything for a long time. So I would imagine winning a European competition would probably be quite high on the list. But the likes of your Manchester Uniteds and your Chelseas and I mean if Barcelona were in it, I don't know how seriously these teams take it. So you would probably have to say, even though, and it's the only joy I've got in life, that we're quite high up in the league phase. I think we're actually above Tottenham. But when it gets to the nitty-gritty, when it gets to the playoff rounds and the last eights and the last fours, your top teams tend to shine, don't they? So I would imagine Tottenham have to be up there, along with your Manchester Uniteds and your usual teams that you see around it. And the new format, I'm not sure yet. I don't. I would when you get draws like Tottenham and Manchester United, and obviously we've still to play both. I would have liked a double header against both Spurs and Man U. I would have liked to have, Spurs fans to come to Ibrox, go to Tottenham's new big all singing, all dancing stadium, and the same with Manchester United. But I think if you look at the competition so far, what the big thing that you're finding that with the new layout, the the lesser teams in terms of finance have got more of a chance of progressing. So I think that can only be a good thing because football's set up in such a way now. You use guys tuning in on this far more than me that you just look at the English Premier League and the power that that's got with the money that it's got and the players that they can attract and the wages that they can pay. 9 times out of 10 in football, your wage bill is where you finish. That's pretty much it. So I think the fact that it gives lesser teams more of a chance to get further and rake in a wee bit extra money, I see that as a positive, not a negative. Question number 7. What sort of game do you expect on Thursday and how will Rangers set up tactically? Right, that's a very long question to answer, so I will try and keep it as short as I can. Um, the atmosphere on Thursday will be electric. Ibrox, and obviously I'm biased, I'm a Rangers fan, but I've been to many stadiums and I have never had an atmosphere like Ibrox in my life. So it all depends, I think, on the start of the game. If Spurs start with that fast play, that interplay, they get an early goal, it could quieten things down, and then Spurs would be in control. I would imagine Spurs will have most of the ball. Rangers will probably set up in a way to try and stop Tottenham, hit on the break, but they need to be brave. They need to be brave. Our pressing has to be much better than what it has been. So I would imagine you'll see Tottenham with a lot of the ball and Rangers trying to hit on the counter. Um, but yeah, it's not going to be a boring game. Let's put it that way. It absolutely won't be a boring game, and it'll be a massive test for Rangers just to see exactly where this team is. Because, like I say, I've been impressed with what I've seen in terms of Tottenham, and like I say, in terms of Rangers setup, it'll be a 4-2-3-1. It will be two very, very defensive midfielders, um, not too far away from the defenders, and try and hit on the counter. That'll pretty much be the way that Rangers set up. Question number 8: do you think Rangers will go strong in terms of the starting 11? As Spurs have made a number of changes in this competition so far. Again, that's where your financial disparity comes into it. We don't have a massive squad. We've got a massive amount of players, but we don't have the kind of strength and depth that even a Celtic has, to be brutally honest with you, or a Tottenham, or an Arsenal, or a whatever. So the manager may make one or two changes with Sunday in mind. Obviously, as I explained earlier, Hadji and Danilo will not play because they can't. Um, but maybe you'll see one or two more changes. Otherwise, I would imagine that Clement will go full strength. Whereas Spurs, I would imagine, obviously have that ability to make one or two changes. I should have looked it up, but I've got no idea who Spurs are playing at the weekend. But I would imagine there'll be more changes in the Spurs team than there will be in the Rangers team. Question number 9. What can travelling fans expect in terms of the stadium atmosphere, and what sort of reception will Postecoglou get? Right. Now, this is subjective in terms of the reaction that Postecoglou will get. Postecoglou wasn't he wasn't hated in the way that a lot of Celtic managers were. Um, he spoke his mind. He was he was a he was a good talker, and I don't think the Rangers fans had that much animosity towards him. He was an outsider who came into the game. It wasn't like a Gordon Strachan or a Neil Lennon or a Martin O'Neill type manager. He was just football. He was just a football man, and he'll receive some boos, but it won't be anything mental. I don't think he's not going to. It's not going to be hostile towards him. I wouldn't say. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. And the travelling fans, well, um, a good time. You'll be welcome anywhere you go. There'll be no animosity at all from Rangers supporters. They'll welcome Spurs fans in. Inside the ground, it'll be an incredible atmosphere. Um, I made the point on one of my shows, actually, we ended up discussing the English League. And again, I could be totally wrong. I just don't think you get the same atmosphere down south as what you do up here. Obviously, the majority of the stadiums are bigger down south than what they are for like an Aberdeen or a Dundee United or something like that. But I don't know. And it'll be interesting actually if I come back to whenever Chris posts this video. But it'll be interesting to see what you guys make of the atmosphere um, on Thursday night. I don't. I think it'll be something that if the Rangers fans are up for it and it's a good game, I don't think it'll be an atmosphere that you've heard before, and I think it's a night that you will enjoy. And I hope that the Spurs fans who are travelling up, I hope you come up. I hope you have a good time. I hope you find a couple of bars, have a few drinks, go to the game, enjoy the game, and just enjoy the overall experience. Which I sincerely hope that you do. Question number 10. Expected lineup for Rangers and your score prediction. I don't do score predictions. But I would imagine you'll probably see. Well, we're all in discussions right now about what the manager's going to do in terms of Thursday and Sunday. But what I would imagine that you'll see is Jack Butland in goal. There's rumours going about that a right back's injured, but it's just rumours. So if he's fit, what I think you might see is Jack Butland in goal, James Tavernier at right back. You will have John Souttar next to either Balogun or Proper, with Jeffy at left back. In front of the two, you will have Nico Raskin and Connor Barron. On the right, you will have Cherny. You will have, what way is he going to go? Bayrami on the left. You'll have Igaman up front. Or you might have Igaman in the 10, sorry, with Dessers up front. That's the way I think the manager will go. And no doubt, after you've watched this and you tune into the game, that'll be the completely wrong squad. But that's the way I think that the manager will go. It's a game that I'm looking forward to. It's a game that I'm excited about. It's Scotland versus England. It's the team with the money against the team that don't have a lot of money. It's bragging rights. But overall, I sincerely hope that every single one of you enjoy the game. I hope your team loses, but I sincerely hope that you enjoy the game. I hope the guys and girls that come up for the game, I hope you enjoy the atmosphere. I hope you enjoy Glasgow, and I all round hope that you have a really good time. Albeit, I hope you're going back down the road with a severe hangover and your team's been beat. But thank you for listening to my wee questions. Thank you to Chris for sending them. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in and watched. And yeah, I'll speak to you soon.